right, this is Just Talk Podcast. This is our number 1 episode, and I'm Zane.
I'm Julio.
Hi, Dylan.
All right, so let's get right into it.
So, have you all heard about Elden Rings?
No.
It won Best Video Game of the Year award this year.
Nice. Who's the runner-up?
God of War Ragnarok.
God of War Ragnarok. I heard a lot about that game.
It's really good. I played it, and holy cow, it's amazing.
Awesome. So, what are the reviews on it? The one that won?
They say pretty much it's pretty much like Skyrim, but
It's like a fantasy-based game?
RPG pretty much, but you're able to like do way more with it. Like the fights are a lot, less stiff than Skyrim and stuff like that.
So
It's
lot
gonna be
better
hard.
graphics.
It's gonna be hard to beat Skyrim out as one of the better games.
They've had such an ongoing franchise.
I actually have heard about Elden Ring, and I've heard that it's extremely hard to beat and hard to play, which is, it's good. It's good to have a game that's hard to play, but at the same time, Skyrim will always be my favorite game.
Thing is about Elden Rings, what I've heard, and a lot of people actually had that complaint because a lot of people wanted God of War to win. Because
God of War is such a massive fan base.
well, yeah, but it also has storytelling. Their storytelling is phenomenal on both of the last games they've had.
Well, now they introduce a lot of actual Norse mythology and Greek mythology lore in it.
Yeah, and they don't even go specifically off completely. Sometimes they'll take like things and move it along. Like on God of War, I think it was God of War 1, right? For example, they said that Kronos was crawling the desert, right, as penance for for the war that they had between them and the gods from Olympus. Well, he was crawling around the desert with a temple on his back, the Temple of Pandora. But, of course, that in the mythology didn't happen. But they kind of changed things to add it to the story and still be able to kind of world build.
So you're thinking that God of War should have won? Have you played Elden
I
Ring?
haven't played Elden Rings. I've heard it's phenomenal, but I heard that it really doesn't have a story.
All right, so if it's anything like Skyrim, it really doesn't have a story. I mean, Skyrim has a story, but you can play that whole game without even entering Whiterun.
Right. But like the thing is like, okay, like the gameplay might be great, right? And all of that. It might be fun to play it. But the question is, would you rather play that, hands down, over a game that has like storytelling and gameplay, great gameplay?
Let me ask you this. God of War, it has a path to follow, correct? It's not open world?
It's got an RPG element. Like you can actually like go away from the past and go to different spots, and you'll actually develop different. Like you'll get different things that you can get for your armor, different armors that you can get to upgrade your character and make them better, stronger, and stuff. It's got a lot of cool things like.
So it's like a quest base.
Yeah, it's quest based. Yeah,
See, I'm not a huge fan. I like sandbox games, GTA, Skyrim, stuff where you can go anywhere you want.
Right.
Anywhere you want, do anything you want, and there's unlimited. I mean, there's not unlimited, but in Skyrim, and probably Elden Ring as well, there's probably unlimited side quests. You never beat the game, ever.
Well, I mean, like GTA, for example, like that is also another very extensive game. Like they've had so many games in the past, but it almost makes you wonder how far they're going to go.
Right.
Like how many more is going to come out.
Did you guys hear about the leak for GTA 6?
No.
I've heard a couple.
A guy leaked out information on GTA 6, and now he got arrested last night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they apparently has a $2 billion budget.
Wow.
With a B, $2 billion with a B, and Miami is in the game, and it's exactly to scale Miami.
Oh God,
Even Waffle Houses and everything.
Wow.
Can you imagine living in Miami? You're playing the game. You're like, I wonder if my house is there.
It
You go to
is.
your house. You open up the door. Some dude opens your door up.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard that they were going to do it in Chicago, but he leaked out that they're going to be in Miami. But apparently they're going to be in multiple different cities, and you're going to have a girl and a man character, and they're a couple, and basically you can switch in between them as you go.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
once you've picked your character that you're going to play as, you can still swap after you started the game.
Yeah, in GTA you don't get to pick your character. You are an already designed character, but like in GTA 5, you have 3 characters that you were at the same time. You could just switch to them whenever you wanted to. If you're tired of being this guy, you switch this guy. Go up, and then it'll bring you down to your other character.
Each one has different missions, but it's
Yeah.
not the same missions every time. So
Yeah, they're all they have their own stories, but I mean they all collide. You know, obviously they're all a team, but
Well, that must be really nice if, like, let's say if you don't have much of a storyline per character. Like, let's say if you were to play that one character, you'd beat the game relatively quick. But if you're able to bounce between characters, you could make a relatively short game into a much longer game.
right.
You know,
I'll put it like
you
this:
get more game time in it.
GTA 5 has an extremely short story. You could beat it in 2 days. But once you beat it, there's still you could you can buy businesses. There's like little side missions. There's like you gotta find the pieces of
It's
the
like
spaceship and whatnot, and then online.
it's all the
GTA
stuff you
Online
can
is
do.
awesome.
There's all the stuff you can do with it, like because like you can race people. Like I mean,
Well, I've heard that GTA Online is so much more different, so much more intense.
GTA
Then
Online is
to
what
just play the
Skyrim
game.
Online could have been,
Yes.
but Skyrim messed around and did Elder Scrolls Online. It was trash.
Mm.
Sorry, Bethesda.
Yeah.
But I love Skyrim, but Elder Scrolls Online was not good.
No, yeah.
You can't get it right every time.
Well, it's kind of hard to beat something like Skyrim.
All you had to do is take, Skyrim, right? Build servers where you can have 5,000 players on one server on one map. And you get on every time, play on the same map with your friends. You can do anything. You can do anything like that. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, like fight dragons.
Yeah, you and all your friends can
It'd
get
be
together.
cool if they did it where like they could make like you could have like a war, so like you could get a group of people on one server that have a group of like kind of like a guild,
Yeah.
and then have another people that have a guild too, and then just come and fight each other.
That'd be hard to coordinate, but could you imagine?
That'd be awesome though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you were able to build like a fort or something like that. That way you can like go back and forth and stuff like that.
Have like spies that like infiltrate the other.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
information, come back.
Oh, yeah, it'd be
Exactly.
fantastic. They just need to make a game just like that,
Yeah.
Not make Skyrim into that, but just make a game to where
Yeah.
if you have 5,000, it's online only. You have 5,000 people on the server, 2,500 on this team, 2,500 on that team, and you come in, right? Because there's always at least 1 million people online, right?
Right.
So you enter a game, you get in there, right? And your whole thing is you play until you die.
So would it be like a 24/7 platform?
Yeah,
or
24/7. Listen, you have the
Don't
server
let-
never stops. If people die, you lose people. You're out of the game. But as people come in, they replenish your troops forever. So people can just fight back and forth war forever.
So no respawn.
No respawn. You have to, once you die, you have to get another one. And say you have 500 servers, you hop on a different server. You're not on the same server you're just on.
They could do something kind of like a gulag, where you go in and you fight somebody else that also died, and if you do win, then you get to respawn.
No, it's all about moving people in and out. Moving people in and out.
Wow.
Like if you have
Well, I think that
2,500
way
here,
more people will get an equal
yeah,
chance.
2,500 people here. You
play
gotta
it.
think people
Yeah.
that are logging on to the game to play
Mhm.
are getting on expecting a 30-second wait to get into a game, right?
Right.
If people have the chance to respawn, then games won't be open. But say like you get in there and they give you a mission, you go do it and you die in that mission, you're out, and it opens up room for other players to come and join.
That's true. Yeah.
And then you just go get on a different server.
Yeah.
Now, what if, like, let's say the person who's commanding a certain side, like the person who's in charge of it all, what if they die?
Yeah, whenever you
Well, how
load
do
into
they-
the game, what would happen is
So, could anyone just take their spot?
no. Whenever you're loading in the game, it tells you who you are, what you are. If you're a general, you can do things that other people can't do. If you're a colonel, you can do other things that people can't do. You know, if you're a grunt, then you're a grunt.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's say the person who's in charge of all, whether it be like a king, president, dictator, any of that,
it's
just
a war, so
the top dog, well, general. Say that general dies in the game, right?
Yeah.
Who fills that spot? Do you have to get like promoted?
Some random person coming in.
No.
So that one random person, who's to say if they were from the other team
I feel like
and sabotages that?
I feel like it'd be better, like, for example, if they did do this, right? If instead of just having a random person that comes in, whoever's been there the longest, other than that person that died,
So they get
general,
promoted.
they get promoted to that level. You know what I mean?
That'd be a fun game, though, would it not?
It would. The only problem that I have with it, if it does like keep doing that though, like where you keep, you die, you keep getting people out of there and stuff like that. Once, if people don't play it much, like people, let's say, that slow down on playing it, there won't be much playability though. Like replayability.
Someone who's like a spy infiltrating, and then they just stop playing altogether, whether their system crashed or whatnot. Now they can no longer log on.
Yeah.
Or something happens in IRL, they can no longer play.
Yeah, because
then all of a sudden now that position has technically been filled.
Yeah.
But that person is not able to actually play.
That's why it would have to be a random. It'd be like, how like in what's that game that everybody's insane with right now? You're on a ship and there's an imposter.
Among Us?
Among Us. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, so Among Us, right? I don't know. I don't play that stuff, but Among Us, right? Okay, so the premise of this game is there is potentially 3 imposters among the crew members, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way the game picks imposters is completely random, correct?
Yes.
So if you, me, and him played, any of us could be an imposter like that.
Man.
The same thing. What? If you log into a game and there's not a general or a colonel or anything, you could just whenever you log in, it just says you are general or you are this. Because then that automatically puts you in, and everybody has
mini matches of it all. So you only have like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To get in, whoever wins.
Yeah.
And then it just starts over a new one. That way anyone would have a chance to become the general, or if there was that, anyone would be able to play it start to finish and see the outcome.
All in all, you wouldn't want to be the general, because the general, his only job is to design the parameters of what you do. He'll give everybody the
assignment,
and they just go do it. And then if the general gets sniped or something, that's one thing. But being a general would be the worst part of the game.
Well, what if it was just all grunts?
Yeah.
Just 2 people or
it'd be chaos.
Fight.
Well,
Exactly.
Yeah. Because the only thing about it though too, if you're right about the timer thing, because if you put a timer down, it'll give them more incentive to send people out to the forts. Because if not, all they're gonna do is sit at the fort and wait for somebody to try to come. What if they never come?
Like a 30-minute timer on it.
Yeah.
Whoever wins or whoever has the least amount of people at the end of it loses.
Yeah.
It's like, let's say you have someone who's really good at like guerrilla warfare tactics.
Mm-hmm.
They go over, they take out a bunch of people, so on and so forth. Whoever has the most wins that round, more or less.
Plus,
so that way the game can start, finish. Kind of like Among Us, you can have hundreds of different things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
That way you would always have a chance to play versus having a select number that could be pre-filled. Like, let's say if no one dies on how you were initially talking about for 10 minutes. Someone only has 10 minutes to play. But if no one dies in 10 minutes, they can't join. It's filled.
I don't think it would be like that, because you'd have snipers, you'd have machine gunmen, you'd have tank operators. Whenever you get into the game, you are assigned what you are, right? So if you're a tank operator, you automatically spawn in a tank.
Question is though,
if you're a sniper, you spawn with a sniper. If you are a machine gunman, you spawn with a machine gun. So, and then you just gotta wait for your, if your general says attack, everybody goes. But if he's like, let's send some people around to, because the way I'm seeing it in my head is you have a map like this, right? You have one side of their base with all their shit, one side of this base with all their stuff, and the middle be woods, right? Or like a jungle.
Yeah.
And you gotta send people through the jungle to their side. They're sending people to your side. You're fighting in the middle. And the goal is to eventually wipe them out. But you can't because it continuously respawns. So it'd be an ongoing game forever. But as people log off or as people die, people log in, take their spots. So it'd be non-stop warfare all the time. If you hopped on, you're in the middle of a jungle war or a woods war or any war you want to be in.
You think
But where would the spawn point be? Not respawn, but just the spawn
their
point.
fort?
On their fort. So half their fort, how it'd be designed is this was the map, right? You know how this is a rectangle. You'd have their fort on this side, the other fort on this side. In between would be jungle and fighting ground, battlegrounds, right? You'd have
Could you be able
tunnels.
to customize the thing?
The fort?
No, the map.
No.
Instead of
I mean, that would be
you
too
know how,
much.
on like Halo or something like that, you could choose what area you're in, or like Call of Duty, how you could, because you know what you're thinking of is similar to Call of Duty, but just non-stop perpetual fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if instead of having just one platform like that, have multiple platforms like that, to where it could be changed like one, like, but you get to choose one set for a jungle, one set for an Arctic tundra, one set for a desert, one set for, you know, post-apocalyptic Earth.
If you have
You know,
500,
and then you could pick which one you want to go to. But there's always a fight going on in that set location.
if you have 500 servers, you could do like 6-7 maps easy.
Something,
Yeah, but
Well, there's
thousands
so
are
many
you do
more
10 maps.
chances for people to be able to log on and play. There's
Something
more than
like-
just one set map.
something I was gonna ask would be like, would it be better to be like kind of like in the modern time, like you were saying, with like machine guns and
Well, I mean,
rifles
you
and
can
all
do
of that,
you can do ancient or new.
or
know?
you could do like like you said, like with bows, arrows, or crossbows and things like
There's
that.
a lot of people who like Call of
There's
Duty.
a lot of
There's a
potential
lot.
there because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many different
Mm-hmm.
stages throughout time, whether it was like swords, shields, arrows, stuff like that,
Yeah.
to modern age,
Yeah.
or back way long ago, wherever you had like clubs, stones, you know.
And even on your forts, you know, you could have stuff like where you're pouring down oil on top of hot oil on top of people or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and
Real
things like
quick,
that.
before we go any farther, we need to ask for subscribers.
Okay.
So it doesn't hurt you to subscribe.
You know, if you like the content, go ahead and subscribe to us.
Yeah.
So
And if you have any comments or anything about anything we've been talking about, let us know in the comments.
yeah, if you have a suggested topic, you know, we can look over them and see what
Yeah.
we can do.
We're gonna do one video a week. The lineup might change, but at least 2 of us are gonna be here every week, guaranteed. Once a week, and if you like it, just subscribe. It's not gonna hurt you to subscribe. You can always unsubscribe if you don't like us later. But you know, we're trying to build this up for you guys. But anyway, back to what we were saying.
Wasn't me that was saying it.
Yeah, you were saying it, man.
Oh, we were just talking about how it would be cool, like, you know,
To have it medieval?
medieval even too. You know what I mean?
You could do anything, man. You could just go in there, pick your century. You could do modern war.
Yep.
You could do
the
1940s
earliest.
We can
war.
even do futuristic, like out
Yeah.
in space.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
if you
to where
have
you're in like a galaxy or like a solar system, you know, people could
Laser swords.
use like a planet for
Yeah.
like a catapult. Like
this game
launch
would be
it at someone or
this
something.
game would be so easy to build too. Literally, all the you can make all the characters kind of look the same, or you can make it to where they can design their own characters. So whenever they jump into a game, it's their character. It just randomly picks what you are, but it has, you know how like I know a lot of people don't play Madden, but Madden has a system in it, right? It knows exactly how many quarterbacks you have and how many you need, how many running backs you have, how many you need,
Right.
the whole thing, right? And if you don't have enough of something, it pops up on the side and it shows you your whole list and what you need, so you could get it from the free, so you could trade for it, right?
Yeah.
You can put that same concept in that game to where it
Well, if it's a free-for-all, then I mean, it's...
Well, yeah, but that way you know who it can pick. Like, hey, the general died. If you need one general per army, the general's gone. You need a general. So somebody coming in is going to have to be the general. That way, you always have everything you need. You have tank people. You have machine gun people. You have sniper people. You have everything you need. That way, you're not running out of something.
Your preference, too, you know what I mean? If some people like being the general more or whatever, it'll try to make you a general. If it don't have any room for it, it'll switch you to your second thing.
So before you log on to play a game, you can select what you want to be.
Your preference.
Your preference, and then it can show you options of different worlds that need that position filled.
Yeah. And
then you can click on that.
Well, no, once you push the play button, it automatically would take you into.
Well, I'm saying if you had different platforms of like different centuries, different areas, and if, like, let's say 5 of them need one position, that can be posted and be like, hey, if you want this, this is what you have to choose from.
Yeah, it'll have
you
like
choose that, and then that's
server.
what you can become in.
It'll have like the
area.
server where it says, like, for example, we need 5 grunts. Who wants to be a grunt? You know what I mean? Or we need a general. Nobody wants to be a general, and we have a position open for it. You know, be able to do that. You know.
It'd be a badass game, dude.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know of any games currently that run like that.
There's none.
Any of them.
There's none. That's something new.
Yeah.
I mean, there's battle
royale. If anyone
royale
out there happens to know anybody, put the word out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have video evidence that it's our idea though.
Yeah.
But
by the way, Happy New Year's Eve, everyone.
yeah, Happy New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Eve where we're at.
Yep.
And probably where you're at, unless you see this tomorrow. In which case, Happy New Year's Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is we just talk in this podcast. There's we can talk sports, we can talk anything you want, but we like to game, we like to watch sports, we like to play sports, and talk about anything.
Oh yeah. We love cars.
Love cars.
What do you think is the nicest car that's come out this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Oh man. This putting me on the spot here.
A little bit. We're at the end of the year, literally.
Yeah.
So, if it were to have come out already.
I'm gonna just say
some companies like we're releasing it the last day.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Challenger guy.
Yeah.
I like the Challengers.
The older Challengers though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Those were nice.
Of course. But I also like Camaros and stuff. But I feel as if next year, from what I've seen, they're gonna ruin the Challenger.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, they're wanting to convert almost all gasoline engines to electric. Like the Mustang. They've already converted the Mustang to electric.
Well, that's just Ford. It's not gonna run either way.
I don't know, like seeing them in person, that's not a Mustang. Like the actual body style of it and everything.
Well, I know what you're talking about. That's a Mustang Cross or whatever. There's no way, because they still make the regular Mustangs.
That's not even really Mustang, because they call it a Mach-E.
It's a mockery.
Mockery.
It's a mockery is what that is.
That's what they call it, yeah. Mach-E.
Mockery.
Yeah, it looks like not even an SUV. It looks more like a van. Yeah, it almost looks like a van. Like the front kind of looks.
You guys
similar
see
to
that Ford brought back the Maverick and made it a truck?
Yes.
I'm like,
doesn't look bad though. Have
you know what they used to call Mavericks back in the day?
Mustang Killers.
Mustang Killers. They were smaller version, or they're a smaller car, but had the same motor, transmission, and everything as a Mustang. So you had less weight.
Though.
Yeah, you had less weight, same power. You could beat a Mustang all day with them. But now they're trucks.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, car companies just shoot themselves in the foot as much as they can.
The first time I seen a Maverick, like the newer ones, I was looking at it, I'm like, what in the world is that? Like, I ain't never seen one. Got to look and I said Maverick. I'm like, no. No.
Yeah.
What have they done?
What's dumb is that they got their Ranger. They brought it back, like the bigger one that looks more like now it looks like an F-150, but it's
you'd only really tell if you were up close on it. Like let's say if you seen it just driving down the road, your brain would just naturally assume it's an F-150 because the defining line between a Ranger and an F-150 was usually just size.
Yeah.
Like the Ranger was a much smaller, more compact truck. But
Yeah.
now, like
They changed the whole body style. I'm gonna tell you
entirely.
something I learned the other day about Ford F-150s. You know that they are the deadliest truck in America.
Really?
More people are getting wrecked with the Ford F-150 died than anywhere else.
Wow.
Than any other vehicle in the whole country in the last 3 years.
Well,
Looks like our stage light went out.
that's not good.
Just got dark in here real quick.
Yeah, it did.
Pause for technical difficulties.
First episode. What is the
Tell me that ain't fancy.
that ain't fancy.
Fancy.
What's the time on that timer?
26 minutes.
Wow.
Feels a lot longer, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's gonna be a long episode.
Yeah.
You know, we're just new at this, so let's get it going. But yeah, Ford F-150s, I'll never own one.
Well,
I don't think they look bad.
I don't know. I have an F-150, but mine's a mid-'80s model.
That's what
I
I'm
will
saying.
say, though, compared to, like, newer vehicles that have much more computers on them, much more sensors, relays, and everything, which, granted, luxury-wise, they have come a long way. Whether it comes to, like, the rear-view camera, to where you can see as you're backing up without having to look behind you. That's nice.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
looking
technical-
behind you, looking behind you is just too much work now.
I know.
Let me ask you
But-
this. Go ahead. Finish your thing, but then I got something to ask you.
But if you are mechanically inclined, working on an older vehicle doesn't have to be Ford. Just an older vehicle in general, so much easier to do. Everything's so much more accessible. There's less stuff to go wrong.
Plus,
But
Ford
you don't.
will make you a mechanic from having to fix it.
Yeah.
I speak from personal experience.
No, your Ford F-150 is mid-'80s. It's solid steel truck. I mean, it's
pretty good.
in
too.
good shape, right? So it's good, right? I
Well,
think
I've
the
had people
F-150.
back into me and not even leave a dent. I look at their vehicle, there's a basketball-sized dent in it. Like, oh god,
That's what I'm saying.
oh god.
The F-150s I'm talking about are the new ones, the ones with the aluminum beds. Let me ask you guys something. Have you guys ever crushed aluminum can on your foot?
Yes.
That's what these trucks are like now.
I highly doubt they're the same thickness as an aluminum can.
They're not.
No,
They're not. But
they're
you
still
got to think
aluminum.
about force and pressure. Okay.
Well, vehicles
The amount
nowadays are
of-
designed to be crinkled. That way it absorbs.
Of course, but
I
think
think
about it
the
as
pressure.
on a scientific note here, okay? If you have a can, it's like a millimeter thick, right? And you can crush it with your hand, right? The amount of force that you have to use to crush that can, right, is what we'll say 10 pounds, right? Probably more, probably less, but we'll just say it's 10 pounds to crush that can, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you were to make a truck out of aluminum and you were to make it a 1/2 inch thick and you're going 70 miles per hour, right? So 1/2 inch thick, a millimeter, how many millimeters are in a 1/2 inch? 30? So,
Just offhand, I do not know.
okay, so 30 millimeters. So 30 times 10,
That's 300.
300 pounds of pressure is what you need to crush that truck
Well,
by physics.
yeah, and it's not just Ford though. Almost all manufacturers in today's market who build vehicles are designed to be crinkled.
Not like a
Especially-
can.
But they're designed to be crinkled. That's
Yes.
the actual name of it, crinkle points.
Yeah, I know.
Especially right in front of where your frame is, to take the impact before it gets to you.
I mean, for goodness
I
sakes,
know,
most
but-
bumpers nowadays are made of plastic.
Well,
ever
you
seen the
imagine-
inside of a bumper nowadays? There's literal foam.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
styrofoam.
Have you guys
in
seen
it.
the outside of a bumper? Is literally plastic.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my bumper is solid steel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Aluminum should not be. I mean, aluminum should be used in vehicles, but it should not be used in structural points. Because even if you thicken
It's the
it a
type-
lot, it will crush.
It's the
It's
type
not
of
very good.
aluminum that they use.
it's
now.
aluminum
For-
alloy.
It's
for-
aluminum. The only way to make it good, aluminum titanium alloy or titanium aluminum alloy, is bulletproof.
But there's people that's made it right. Like for example, Honda, right? They made the Acura NSX, right? You know what the frame of that's made out of?
cheese.
a couple mixtures of aluminum, and they put other metals and kind of melted it down and made it tougher, but it's lighter still.
Well, that's an alloy.
Yeah.
Aluminum alloy.
Multiple kinds of metal.
Right.
You smelt it down.
But it's still tough though.
You gotta think
on them. So why can't Ford get it right like that?
if you take airplane aluminum is aluminum, right? But if you take aluminum bends, and it's really light, but it's weak, right?
Yeah.
Titanium shatters, but it's really hard, and it does not bend.
Well, that's
you put them together, now you got a bendy thing that is really hard.
Yeah.
Well,
and you're
combining. Well,
I seen on Mythbusters they did this same thing, aluminum titanium alloy. They made a Iron Man suit, shot like 10 different caliber guns at it, and it just bounced off, didn't dent it or nothing. It was literally unfazed by all the gunshots. Aside from where the mass didn't obviously there's a gap here. So whenever the bullets would hit the armor, the bullets would just turn the freaking shrapnel because the armor is so hard. But that's aluminum titanium alloy. Also, aluminum is what they make bulletproof glass out of.
Yeah.
Whenever you heat aluminum so hot, it turns see-through. The molecular structure of the aluminum becomes so dense that you can see right through it. And that's aluminum is literally bulletproof glass. That's crazy, is it not?
Yeah.
It's science. We have come so far in the science industry, whether it comes down to vehicles, medicine, just transportation in
I'm
general,
almost 100% sure
gaming.
We
have advanced so much.
If you had an inch thick plate of aluminum, I'm pretty sure, maybe at 22, most rounds from a gun, it would not stop. But if you take an inch of aluminum, depends. If it's cast, it definitely won't stop it because it's just going to shatter like glass. If it's forged, I don't think it would stop it either. I just think what you'd have is a hole, and the aluminum would be blown out the back like that. I don't think it would stop it. But cause aluminum's very, very soft. It's not. I mean, it's not super soft, but it's also very light.
Look at a sheet of paper, right? Sheet of paper, you can crumble it with virtually no pressure, right? Doesn't take much. And a sheet of paper is almost the exact same thickness as a tin can, right?
Yeah.
There might be a little variation of a difference, but not by much.
Right.
You get an inch thick of paper. Think that'll stop at 22?
No.
It will.
We'll have to try that.
Yeah.
And did you know that if you get two regular phone books, and if you stack the pages one on top of the other,
I know that for sure.
No glue, no adhesive, but you have to at least get half of the page. You can get more, which will be even stronger, but at least half of the page. A whole phone book like that, you cannot separate it. You cannot separate it.
That makes sense because
you could hook one up to a car, the other up to a car. You'll tow the car like that.
That makes sense simply because the fact that friction exists, okay? If you have one page like this, right? You got friction, but not enough to do shit. If you have 1,000 pages and 1,000 pages hooked in to each other perfectly like that, the amount of friction there would be, a ton. Plus the weight on the bottom pages.
Well, whenever you pull on it like that, you're increasing the bond that each page has with one another. And this with zero adhesive. No glue, no tape, no nothing.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't need adhesive. It has friction. Like, the more you stack, the more you intertwine, the more friction builds. And once you get so much friction, nothing can move. It's just like a ball bearing. Ball bearing, if you spin it, it'll spin for like a minute, right? Now you put sand in that ball bearing, it won't spin at all. It won't spin a bit. That thing that would just spin for a minute on its own will no longer spin at all because it has too much friction.
Have you heard that you can't fold a piece of paper more than 7 times? Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
People trying to fold it more than 7 times and they can't do it.
Yeah, they also say that one sheet of paper, if you fold it like 40 some odd times, you'll reach the moon with it.
Mm-hmm.
From a single sheet of paper.
Well,
Think, that is insane. Like, the fact that we have been able to calculate that. One sheet of paper to reach the moon, which is thousands of miles away on one sheet. But it's physically impossible to fold it that many times.
Oh,
Due to the molecular structure of it, the atoms, everything would start to separate from one another. You'll end up tearing the paper. But theoretically, if you could, you'd get all the way there.
that's crazy.
So 40 times?
40 some odd times, but you have to fold it in half, in half, in half, in half, in half.
So what if, I'm just saying this, what if you just cut it 40 times? What if you just cut it into 40 little squares and stack them on each other?
Well, whatever you fold it, you're increasing the thickness of it.
Yeah.
If you just cut it, it doesn't have that thickness increase of being folded. You can also get a single sheet of paper, cut it in a certain way, you can fit your whole body through it without ripping it. True story. One sheet of paper. You have to fold it a certain way and cut it a certain way. And you can fit your whole body through it. Virtually
Even fat
anyone.
guys like us?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Any one of us. Any one of us.
I want to
If
see
you
that
happen
go.
to have a sheet of paper and a pair of scissors, I can show you.
We're over here filling our pockets.
Yeah,
now.
well, let me, my paper, my scissors, I carry on me. Let me just get them out for you, because that way we can do this.
Yeah.
No, next video. Next video, we're gonna fit through a piece of paper somehow.
Without ripping it, too.
We'll try.
Might be a little thicker than what we thought.
Yeah.
Thicker than a Snicker.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Snickers.
Zane's going to be over here later on today going to store just to get some Snickers.
Yeah. I'm craving it now.
Yeah.
You're not you when you're hungry.
You never answered what car you thought was the nicest one this year.
The Challenger. Have you seen the 2023 all-electric Charger though?
No, does it look nice?
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful. I just wish it wasn't all electric. I mean, I'm all for saving the environment.
Right.
Yeah, because.
But anybody with any sense at all knows that if every car in America was electric, it would overdo our power grid. The lines on the top.
Not necessarily recently.
I know
Fusion reactors.
Mm-hmm.
Fusion reactors is ultimately splitting an atom.
Yeah.
Okay? But in a controlled environment. If it's not controlled and it just goes everywhere, you have an atomic bomb. Right? But here recently, a fusion reaction is you have to add stuff to it to cause that to happen.
Right.
But the amount of quote-unquote fuel that it would take to do it, the atom put out less than putting into it. Like, okay, so we have a net loss of initial energy. But recently, this is just within the last month, okay, they found a way to have a net gain.
Net positive.
Net positive, okay. So with that said, it is a renewable, clean energy resource. And if you're able to do that on more areas, we could virtually power the entire globe on clean energy and have it non-stop. That way, if we were to go all electric, it wouldn't hurt the grid because it's so much cleaner. It doesn't put nowhere near as much stress on. Since we live in the South, our power lines are in the air. They're not in the ground.
Right.
So it's so much less stress on them. You have less failure at the transformers.
Right.
That's what I say. Because if you try to charge 300 million, because there's 375 million people in America, you had 300 million cars.
Well, that's if every single person had a car. Like, we both have
I'm
kids.
just saying, okay.
You know, like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm just saying, even with 200 million, okay? If you try to charge 200 million cars, our lines would just melt right off. We're the top pole. I mean, all they are is aluminum.
Well, that's if you do it simultaneously.
That's good though that they found a way.
Well, yeah,
to
but when are
take
people
something
charging their
that's bad,
cars?
And make it into a positive thing.
Well, there's been so much scarcity
Right.
of because it is on a nuclear level.
Right.
You know, a lot of people confuse that to, you know, radiation,
Bad.
this, that, and
Right.
the other. You know, bad. You know, most
Yeah.
people are afraid
Nuclear
of that.
bad. No, nuclear good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even regular nuclear power is not bad. They have a hot, it's like basically a rod that stays hot forever. You put it in water, it steams, the steam moves the generators and
creates
electricity.
Right.
There's no coal, no pollution, nothing. Whenever that rod is done, guess what they do with it? They take that rod and they put it in a barrel and they put it in the ground for 27 years. That's it.
That
And
way
then-
the half-life of it has
Yeah.
already started, and then it's not putting out
And it's not
enough
that, yeah,
radiation to harm anything.
ain't that bad. The water that keeps them cool, it doesn't radiate in the water. You can swim in those. You can swim in the pools of water with the
You wouldn't
radiation.
want to. The temperature of that water, though.
Yeah.
It's
That'd be
cold.
hot. I don't know if this.
It's consistently, because you can't let it get hot, otherwise it will blow up. It's consistently replenishing
have
the
a whole
water.
other Chernobyl on our hands.
Yeah, so, you know, but it's literally safe, clean energy. But people hate it so much. I'm like, so you rather burn coal and literally like put ash and soot into the environment instead of just having a fuel rod that will last for 20, 30 years. Just create steam naturally.
Well, you gotta think. When it comes to combustion engines, have to have what? Oil. You have to have oil. There's no real alternative to it. Even with synthetic oil, which you can manufacture, it'll only get you so far.
I feel like
You
you
know.
can just like, if you go to a motor using only like bearings, like roller bearings, you wouldn't need oil.
It'll be so much heavier though.
Yeah.
The gas mileage would go so far down.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand because me personally, I like muscle cars. I like the just hot rods. I love that. I love it. But oil is a finite resource. There's only so much. Once we run out, we've run out.
Right.
Unless someone has like this secret one barrel somewhere, but that one 55-gallon drum barrel will only get you so far.
Look,
and not very
one
far.
55-gallon drum of oil will probably get you like what, 25 gallons of gas, a couple gallons of propane, a couple gallons of whatever it meant, diesel, and then what you have left is about
Crude oil at that point.
no crude oil is what you have.
Oh,
What
yeah,
you have
that's
left,
the
yeah.
initial process. That's the initial
What you
step.
have left at the end is tar, propane, gasoline, diesel, stuff like that comes off. Kerosene.
But to go all clean, which I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier, we only have one Earth. We need to keep this going for our kids,
We're
our
going the wrong way.
future generations.
We're going the wrong way. Everybody wants to go electricity. Electricity is not sustainable. You know what's sustainable? Hydrogen. Water. It's so doable. People just need to do it.
Oh God, have you learned recently that there was this guy in Japan? I can't remember his specific name, so I'm not gonna butcher his name trying to say it. But he experimented with water, okay, and he would freeze it. But before, he would tell it something. I know this sounds crazy. Just hear me out on this.
You've lost us
He
here for a
would
second.
give compliments to it. Whether it was caring, friendship, love, so on and so forth. And then to another batch, he'd be rude to it, say disrespectful remarks, be hateful,
You
and then
lose
to
us.
look at it on a microscopic scale, what he gave compliments to versus being disrespectful to, what it froze like is entirely different. Entirely different. Like the one that he gave compliments to formed the six side, what you would see as like a snowflake.
Yeah.
But each one, like let's say love, respect, caring, it would form similar six-sided frozen particles, but they would be kind of similar, but each one would have its own variety, own different distinctions. The one that he was rude to had no symmetrical shapes, just looked like a blob in a way. And it's like, because people say, back in the day, water, quote unquote, could be God. I'm not saying it is, but that's what people believed.
Right.
To think that that's what brings life. Without it, we have no life. But to think that it retains that, because people say water has memory.
Right.
You know?
Which it does. Yeah.
So if you play that into it, that could almost coalesce with what this guy was doing.
Right.
So water in and of itself is a fascinating thing, because you can look into this. It's true. I kid
They
not.
have a class down at the library. No.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
grab my hat, put it on, and we're going to find the One Piece.
God, I seen this meme the other day. And it's like, I've been watching this show for forever now, but I've yet to see what they're talking about. I'm gonna go find this One Piece.
Yeah. He's like, that's it. Puts his hat on and takes off. Like,
Yeah, nobody ever even found the One Piece. I'm out of here.
according to the author.
Pause for technical difficulties.
I'm just gonna say this: we gotta get in the light. But
according to the author, we're almost at the end game of One Piece.
Really?
Yes.
Come to find out, they're just trying to find like a literal puzzle piece.
Well, this is the interesting part about the One Piece. Like, everybody's wondering what it is, because literally, Goldie Roger, right, the one who left the treasure there, right, on one of the episodes where they showed Roger getting to the island where the treasure is, his whole crew looked at the treasure, looked at it, and laughed.
So it's got all this hype behind it,
Yes.
more or less.
But nobody knows what it is, but the guy who became the king of the pirates looked at this treasure and laughed. Everybody laughed that was with him. Why,
It was kind of like that movie Pulp Fiction
though? Yeah.
by Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
That suitcase that they had the whole time, whenever they'd show it, it'd be glowing like a goldish color
Yeah.
on the person who's looking at it, but they never showed what it was.
Right.
The whole movie,
Yeah.
you never got to see it. I hope that in the end of One Piece they actually do disclose what it is.
He said they will. It's getting into very interesting territory now on One Piece, though.
What season are they on now?
I don't even know what's
5,132.
No, I know they're in an episode, I think, around at that 1047 or something like that right now.
So basically,
41 is the season that they're on. So there's 1,000
episodes.
Okay, so they don't categorize it into seasons?
They do. They have, but the way they do it, of course,
a lot.
Like the first
23 episodes per season. There's 1,043.
I think there's actually
Do
more.
the math.
Some of them.
I'm just saying this.
Like right
One
now,
Piece has gotten to a point where people who want to watch it will never watch it just because they're like, I don't know if I have that amount of time left.
Yeah.
Well, they've actually thought it up. Like, if you were to sit down and watch all of it back to back, with factoring in bathroom breaks, snack breaks, without having a job.
But
Like, how long it would take you. Like, I can't, I'm not going to say what it was because I can't quite remember, but it was an astronomical number.
I ain't gonna lie though, like I started watching One Piece, right? I had never watched it, and I remember I always was reluctant to watch it, and I started watching it, and at first I didn't know what to think of it, but then I got to grow. Like, I tell you this much, my favorite character is Zoro, the guy that uses 3 swords. That guy's...
Doesn't he have a green hair?
He has green hair, yeah. And that dude is one of the coolest dudes I've ever seen in anime.
He also
I've watched Dragon Ball, which has Vegeta in it, and that is saying something.
Well, from what I hear, Zoro is more or less the guy that kind of keeps Luffy in line, keeps him in check in a way.
He's his first mate, right? So a first mate in a pirate crew is pretty much like
The vice president?
He's pretty much the vice captain.
He's his right-hand man.
He is right-hand man, and he's just...
Who's the captain?
Luffy.
Luffy wants to be Pirate King.
And people say all the time, even in the show, they're like, how are you not the captain, Zoro? You know what I mean? Like, they say all the time because Zoro is, stoic, and he's real hands-on. The only thing about Zoro that is hilarious, I don't know how much you guys have watched of it.
0.
Well,
I used to read the manga. I haven't watched the actual anime, but I used to read the manga whenever I was a kid.
Zoro is like such a he will beat you down anything, right? He will face anybody, no matter who it is, no matter how tough of a fighter you are, right? That's the type of person Zoro is. But Zoro has one thing. One, he's definitely an alcoholic. That man drinks all the time. Two, he has no sense of direction at all. He literally, a sign could say turn left and the bathrooms are that way. I'm going to go right. No joke. By looking at it. But the thing is, what's it called about it that makes it so funny is that people even make jokes on the comments and they say that when Luffy does find the One Piece, maybe he'll do the same thing as Goldie Roger, start the next era of piracy, right? And he'll be like, my treasure is hidden there, and you can find it. The only person that knows where it is Zoro. And everybody's like, we'll never
so
find
what
it.
is it saying that the One Piece is, though?
Is it like a treasure, a map?
The author Oda said that it is an actual physical thing. So it is something that's going on. But I do know that, I don't know if y'all know this, but in One Piece, there is a whole century of history that's completely missing from the One Piece world. So there's a whole century where the world government has hidden things and everything from that whole century where nobody knows anything about it at all.
So that kind of tells you what it is. It's going to be a book or something that tells you about that.
No, because what they're doing is, so what they're doing right now, right? They're going through a bunch of islands trying to find what's called poneglyphs, right? And poneglyphs are this indestructible cube made out of a material that nobody can destroy at all.
That's what indestructible is.
Right. Well, the reason why they made it that way is because this is the only thing left that has the history of part of the Void Century, they call it, right? Well, it's written in a language that very few people can read it, but they can cipher it, right? Well, let's put it this way, okay? There was there's an island, right, that was finding out too much about the Void Century.
Yeah.
And literally the government destroyed it completely. Killed all its people. And destroyed it just because they were getting close to find out more about the Void Century.
Sounds like the government is, needs to be taught a lesson.
Right. But that's the thing, though. It's kind of hard because the government on this world, they run everything, of course. They have their hands on everything. Which
like real life.
Which of course, they say they're trying to stop pirates and all of that and stuff like that, right? But a lot of times you get to see there's a gray area where there's some pirates that are really bad, right? And then there's some that are better than others, right? Then there's the government, which they want you to think they're all good, but then there's some that are really bad and corrupted, and then there's some that are really good. You see what I mean?
Kind of like I said, that sounds about like real
life.
You get the good, the bad, and the ugly of everything.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, it really is.
Hey, Dylan, what's that time say?
54.
Ooh.
That jumped up.
Yeah. Wow, 26 last time. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But One Piece seems like it'd be a good show to watch.
If you got time.
If you got a lot of time. You have to have a lot of time.
But
we have kids.
I've watched it.
There's no way.
I literally, I can say this, right? I have kids too. And I literally, in a year, right, I caught up to One Piece.
How many hours per day would you say you've dedicated to it? Like, just on average.
About an hour or two.
Hour or two a day.
Yeah. That's about it.
That doesn't seem too bad.
A year of your life.
Well, you gotta think.
You sit down to watch.
People sit down and watch TikToks
for
like
an hour.
2 to 3 hours per day, and that's just that one thing. You know, like social media. People dedicate at least an hour and a half to 3 hours a day to social media. So if you put that towards watching that show, your day would pretty much balance out. Yeah. And that's if you only do 1 hour.
Because what I always did was, like, let's say the kids went to bed, right? They went to bed at 9 o'clock or something like that. I would put it on, watch an episode or two, you know. And then after that, I was like, okay. And then
how long are the episodes?
They're very long. They're like, I think the most it has been one, I think maybe about, I think maybe like 30 to 40 minutes tops. I mean.
Okay, so that's about your average run time.
Yeah, so it's
for an episode.
Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. So you could watch maybe like 4 episodes, and it's only be like 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Sounds doable.
Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. The thing is, you'll notice on it, the world building on that show is amazing, and there's callbacks to stuff that was going on in the first season that they call back on the latest season, like
So it's something you have to watch, detail for detail. So, like, let's say whenever they make a reference like that way you know.
Yeah.
What they're referring to.
Yeah. Sometimes, they'll make a reference about somebody or something, like, and you'll be like, holy cow, I remember that character, or oh yeah, or something like that. You know what I mean?
So it's not something you can just jump in like season 4.
You could probably get it. You could probably get it if you jumped in probably in season 2. I'm pretty sure you could get into it. It'd still be all right. I'll tell you what though. The first season when you first started, it first starts out kind of slow. Kind of starts introducing some of the characters and stuff like that. But then this is one of my favorite episodes actually on the first season. And it's actually an episode where they go to, it's called the Baratier, right? It's a restaurant. It's a floating restaurant in the sea, right? So it floats in the sea. It's a boat. And if you run upon it with a boat or your ship or anything, you can just go dock there and eat there. It's really cool in the sea. And that is one of
their food's fresh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, then, of course,
catching it in the kitchen, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I like cutting it up.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite like episodes around that, where you'll be like, it starts out just like a regular episode. You're like, oh wow.
What do you do if you don't like seafood in this? You just like
Also, what
about fish people?
What about fish people? The fishermen?
Yeah, the fishermen or whatever. Do they eat fish?
I think so. Yeah. I know. I know it sounds weird, or I don't know. I honestly I never. Yeah, they do. They eat, but you got to think like they go into islands and you can go and hunt like other animals there, like mammals and stuff. So I'm sure you're able to do that. But yeah, or then maybe they're vegetarian. They eat kelp or something. I don't know.
Well, that pretty much concludes the first episode. Got about a minute left. So thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate it. First episode of Just Talk Podcast. I'm Dylan again.
Julio.
Zane. And make sure you subscribe.
Yep.
Or, if you don't, that's cool too. But it'd be cooler if you did.
And Happy New Year.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you guys.